everybody? Coach Doyle here. 15.5 Strategery. It is 4-time rounds of 27, 21, 15, 9. Row for calories and thrusters at 95 or 65 for the RX, or 65 or 45 for the scale. The key variables in this workout, if you didn't already know, are your pain tolerance. How much pain can you handle and continue to work? And sort of how good is your engine? How far can you push your high intensity pace into the 6, 7, 8, 9 minutes of a workout? The technical considerations for this are largely going to be focused on the row, because the row is going to be the thing that you spend a majority of your time doing, depending on your strength. But most of you who are RXing this workout will spend a majority of your time rowing. Alright? The key points of performance you need to focus on are that the fundamentals of good rowing remain the same here. Even though we're sort of taking it out of the general concept of we're going to row to learn how to row well and efficiently, there's going to be some of these aspects that we go into that sort of diverge from the classic rowing instruction that we give, and I'll get more into that later. But just to refresh it, it's good posture, which means chest up, midline secure, okay? Nice hard leg drive where you're really driving with your legs, and then you're going to focus on the correct sequence of events with your hands and your hips, right? The hips drive away from the erg, and then your hands follow to your rib cage, elbows down and in, and then your hands return, and then your hips return. So it's hips then hands, hands and hips, which is the exact same thing as a thruster. A thruster is hips then hands, hands then hips, which is one of the reasons this workout is really sort of about how much pain you can sort of tolerate. Alright? The key points of performance in your thruster are, number one, primarily, don't let them get sloppy. The number one thing you're going to see people do is their posture is going to go down, their elbows will drop, their knees, they'll come up onto their toes when they're squatting. We want to make sure that your posture is upright, your balance is good, and that means that your weight is in the middle of your foot, not in the heel, not in the toe. We're going to do full squats here with a slight bounce in the bottom to sort of get that stretch reflex response to help you drive up through. And then you're going to do a nice big hard leg drive and follow through with the arms. One of the biggest things that people forget to do in bigger unbroken sets of thrusters is breathe. If you hold your breath when you do thrusters, you will make everything you do in the remainder of that workout exponentially harder. Alright? Some special considerations we're going to go through in this workout. Once again, we're going back to the row. And the monitor, okay? Every round you have to reset your monitor so that the calories read 0. Now, the question is, do I have to do it myself? Do I have a judge do it? The judge is allowed to do it for you, as stated on the game's website, if you ask them to do it, okay? Which means somewhere in your transition, you want to make sure that you're asking the judge to reset your rower for you. When you get off, just go, reset my rower, please. And then they'll do it. But if you do not ask, they are not supposed to touch the rower. Alright? Rowing techniques, slight alterations. And these alterations are going to be recommended for those who are more familiar with the rowing. If you're relatively new to rowing, alright, you don't want to sort of incorporate this stuff because you're really trying to focus on the good fundamentals. Alright? But for those of you who have been doing it for a while and had a couple months with the concept too, you want to leave the straps on the foot plate slightly loose. You don't want to really crank it down tight so it locks your feet in, you feel super secure, because the type of pulls we're going to do are going to be a little different, and I'll get more into that during the pacing portion. You want to lean back slightly more than you usually would. I recommend about a 30-degree torso angle. Alright, on this one in particular, you want to try to get to 45. That extra 15 degrees of torso angle will help you add up some extra calories through the round. Alright? Instead of pulling your hands down to the rib cage with your elbows down and in, I want those of you, again, who are RX athletes more familiar with the rowing, to bring that handle up a little higher, all right, toward your collarbone. That torso extension and that high handle, while is not a traditionally perfect row, okay, it is going to add calories here and help save your anterior chain for the thrusters. Okay? We're trying to keep your anterior chain as fresh as possible, so we're not really trying to teach a traditional row that translates to a boat in the water. Right? If you are a larger athlete, that means above 185 pounds or taller than 6 feet, okay? almost all of our training on the Concept 2s, we set the fans, okay, to 5. You want to go to a 7 or an 8 here, and that's going to also help you get those extra calories as we go. I wouldn't recommend going higher than an 8 just because we do spend so much time at 5, alright? Next part we're going to do, we're going to come back to a fresh board and we're going to go over the pacing stuff, okay? Alright guys, now to the pacing of 15-5. For those of you who are looking to RX and be competitive in the squad, the recommendation is that you row fairly close to your maximum mobility and that you do the thrusters unbroken. Once again, this WOD really comes down to how much burn and pain can you handle and continue to work. All right, a 95-pound thruster for most of you who RX workouts won't be a major determining factor as much as it is sort of your just personal willpower to grind out a good score. All right, for the row, okay, in terms of pacing, roughly about 1,400 calories an hour equals 1 calorie per stroke, okay? If you want to have a good time that's on pace with high-level athletes, you're looking at somewhere between 26 and 30 strokes per minute with the damper set on 7 or 8, really giving it as hard and long and powerful a pull as you can, all right? When you do that, okay, you actually turn your stroke rate into a work to rest ratio of 1 to 2. That means you're working and then you're resting twice as long with the delayed return of the handles and then the return to the beginning of the pull position. That's rest, okay? You're not actually working there. You're moving, but you're not working. So breathing here, deep breaths on the return of the handles towards the fan is a really important part, all right? So 26 to 30 strokes per minute. So there's a column on the monitor, so if you get familiar with your monitor, it can tell you that. Or the calories per hour rate will tell you that, okay? At a 1,400 calorie per hour or 26 stroke rate per minute, you're going to get out of the first set of 27 calories somewhere between a minute 10 and a minute 15, okay? So that's going to really push that pace. If you are a big, strong athlete, okay, you will be rewarded in this workout by coming out of the gate relatively fast, okay? You don't want to necessarily hold back and then try to catch up in the later rounds because no matter what, those rounds of 15 will feel like utter hell, okay? That's just the way it's going to be, all right? So if you come out of the gate and you hit the 27 and the 21 calories relatively hard, getting on and off that erg and hitting those thrusters unbroken, you're going to be in a really good place. And then in the rounds of 15 and 9, you literally just need to suck it up and go. Now, pacing for the thrusters, all right? For those of you who, like I said again, are RXing this and looking to be competitive, all right, either in the region or within the gym in terms of being on top of the leaderboard, the thrusters you should try to do unbroken, okay? If you're not going to do them unbroken, okay, every time you drop that bar, you have to understand it's a 15-second time. 15 seconds of time you will lose every time you drop the bar, okay? So if you're one of the people on the top of the leaderboard, you put that bar down, you just lost 15 seconds. If you break each of your sets, that's adding 30 seconds to your time in the first 2 sets alone, all right? So if you're going to break, my recommendation is this. You do sets of 15 and 12 on the round of 27. You do sets of 12 and 9 in the rounds of 21, and you do the 15 and 9 unbroken, okay? When you drop that bar, you use the clock, and you count to 7 seconds at the most before you pick that bar up and go again, all right? Because remember, we're not worrying about resting in these thrusters. We are trying to get out of the thrusters and get our rest periods in on the 2-to-1 work to rest ratio in the stroke rate in the row. All right? For those of you, again, who are RXing it and looking to put in a competitive time within the gym, you can break down the round of 27 to 3 sets of 7 and 1 set of 6, or 3 sets of 6 in the 21s with 1 set of 3, then 5s, then 5 and 4. Okay? But once again, you really want to try not to break as much as possible. If you do have to break, at some point, there's going to be people who do this that as they go, it's going to turn into single reps. That's okay. That's why the community's here, and we'll just yell and cheer as loud as we can and turn the music up so that you can't do anything except look at your bar and pick it up when you can and keep going. But other than that, there's really not much to this workout except for your pain tolerance. All right, this is going to be a burner. It's going to have people laying on the ground going, "Good God, that's it." And it's really a great way for us to wrap up the open. So we'll see you out there on the floor. Best of luck, guys, and great job so far.